Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in for our daily Liverpool news show. We're going out live tonight. Hope you're having a lovely night, Reds. How's your weekend been? Hope you had a cracking weekend, whatever you've been up to. Make sure you're getting comments in the comment section below tonight. We're discussing 4 topics which I want to discuss reviews and want all your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. We'll talk about Kelleher, Harry Willson as well, a potential move outwards towards the Portuguese league, potentially with the bid being rejected by Liverpool, which we'll discuss anyway. FSG's changing in their transfer policy. Will we see FSG this summer in particular step away from the previous policy in which we have seen at the football club, which we'll discuss a bit later? We'll know your thoughts on that. And obviously the UEFA scrapping of the away goals. I've got all their comments from yesterday in their reasoning why they've took this approach within European football. But welcome, Reds. Thank you very much for tuning in. Apologies, I haven't been doing me shows as frequent. Obviously, sometimes life. I wish I could do YouTube as a full-time job, but I really do appreciate every single one of you for continuing to support the channel as well and dropping a like on the video and following all the content as we always do. Anyway, absolute legends. Hope you're all keeping safe and well, and I have missed you, very much have. And I would do Euro content if you would like to do that, but I think the quicker the Reds get back in action, I think that's the better, where we can all discuss Liverpool. I think that we don't really want to be sat here talking about England anyway. But let's get to Doug's comment now. I didn't get a notification. Oh, classic YouTube, matey. Thank you for tuning in, mate. Absolute legends. Shay, how you doing, mate? Evening. How are you doing, Shay? Hi, Jack. Oh, hello, Doug. Hello there. Jade, how you doing, Doug, in chat as well? Didn't get a notification either. There you go. That's what you expect from these YouTube platforms or whatever. That's why I'm streaming on Facebook as well, because you can more or less rely on them, more or less. Looks Belter with the UEFA Champions League badge on the sides. Oh, I'll show you that now, mate. I'm going. Mitchell, how you doing, matey? Every single one of you. Obviously, you can. That's the new badge, everyone. As much as we don't like UEFA, but obviously that's the new Champions League badge. If anyone's wondering, wanting to get the new kit, and obviously you got the new Federation badge alongside there as well. I've got Mane on the back as well, because we haven't had Mane on the back of the kit for a very long while. But Mitchell and everyone, what do you reckon on the new kits as well? If you've got hold of them, does it look a little bit better since we've last seen them anyway? Hello, fellow Reds. We won our 19th league title to this day last year. We very much did, Eamons, and the quicker the Reds can get back into action. I know we've had football to watch, but it's international football. Nothing can bring the emotion in which our lads do on the football pitch every single weekend anyway. Just got to bear with the international football at the minute and have our fingers crossed there's no injuries. But yeah, Eamons, Phil, Mitchell, Shay, Jade, Shay, and every single one of you, if you are watching this on the repeat, you absolute legends. Hope you're having a lovely day as well. But we get straight into the news, Reds, really, that we have been discussing. Kelleher has been given a long-term contract. What's your thoughts and opinions on this, Reds? I'm very happy for the lads. Obviously, you only have to look at his reaction from the content in which Liverpool pumped out over the last couple of weeks anyway. Well, this week in relation to him, look more or less looking like, from all the journals out there, very well respected journalists within the Liverpool scene, discussing his potential and more or less making him the second choice goalkeeper for Liverpool Football Club. For me, Reds, I want to know your thoughts and opinions. I thought with the signing of this new contract, obviously Adrian we've discussed as well, him getting his new contract. Kelleher, for me personally, I felt and feel still that he potentially could be loaned out this summer. I know we'd be left with obviously the young Brazilian lad, can't quite remember his name, but the young lad anyway, and obviously forward, Adrian would have been the second backup anyway, but everyone's got the different thoughts and opinions on that anyway. But let's get to comments as well. Let me know your thoughts on Kelleher. I was speaking to Dave and Keith before, obviously they're Irish and you very much love Kelleher as a player. It's great to see an Irish representation within the Liverpool team at the minute, because historically there's been so many great Irish players down the years in Liverpool, steeped in Irish history. Obviously, the city of Liverpool as well, and so much as well. But Shay, that new kit has finally grown on me. We didn't like it at first. No, we didn't, Shay. Very much we didn't. But then I actually got it, and it changed my mind. Shay, yeah, it's obviously, I think Liverpool in the future, when they're promoting the kits, I think it need a bit more better publicized content, really, in terms of the way they do publicize their kits on all social media channels as well. Mitchell, it's grown on me. I won't lie, but that's because I've put a few pounds on. Mitchell, no, you haven't, mate. I think the kits are getting a lot more smaller year on year, and since lockdown has hit, for me personally, I've got more of a bigger belly, which is great in the long run for me, because that's what I've been trying for. But I think all of us possibly might fill out the kits, and the kits are getting a bit more smaller, might be said. Or either that, or we're all getting bigger. Probably the latter. But yeah, it makes sense to give him a long-term deal. Obviously, in discussing Mitchell with Kelly, very much so. He definitely needs a loan. No, he needs games. From more or less, I agree with that. Go on, lad. Josh, keep your money, lads. I say this to everyone. Thank you very much, mate, for the continued support on the channel as well, mate. Thank you, as always. I really do appreciate that. Every single one of you don't have to put money towards the channel or not. I'm just happy that you're viewing the content, and I'd much rather keep that in your back pockets, Josh. Well, thank you. Once we're allowed out, I'll buy you a pint. Because nowadays it's £5 for a pint now. So, Josh, I'll keep hold of that for you, mate. But thank you, I really appreciate it, mate. Every single one of you. Love seeing the Irish involvement with Liverpool, and hopefully Kelleher can live up to his potential. Shay, what's your thoughts and general consensus, really, from the Irish point of view? Would you rather? Obviously, I feel he's possibly, don't know a lot of Irish goalkeepers. I know Darren Randolph, is it? I think he's Irish, but I think if Kelleher was to very, very much propel himself into not Liverpool, really, because he won't get a lot of first team action, but a championship side that is competing at the highest level, or a newly promoted side. You never know. But Shay and all the Irish Reds out there, would you want him to really get a loan move? I think a lot of you have already said tonight, and then just try and establish himself as a first team regular, and that'd be even better for it in terms of speaking about Ireland and the international stage. When you get to these qualifying for the competitions, you want to see the best level of competition for your players. So I think Kelly, absolutely spot on. Literally every scout has Irish grandparents. We love the Irish. Mitchell, we very much do, you, mate. I think I could have got an Irish passport. Well, every single scout as well. And there's so much great history within the city of Liverpool as well. May not support Liverpool, but I do support my mates. Good vibes. Spot on there, Josh. Absolute legend. I really do appreciate him, mate. I'd rather see him go out on loan, to be honest, especially for his international career. Hit the nail on the head there. Took the words out of my mouth. Really do appreciate it. Rory, good show earlier, Jack. I think Kelleher is being groomed / trained, and then look at loans in 1 to 2 years. Rory, thank you very much, mate, for the continued support, not just on mine, but obviously on Dave's channels and everyone's channels, mate. Yous are what make the Liverpool family so great. Every single one is. I know there's loads of Liverpool channels, which is great. There's so many great channels out there that I've had the privilege of going on and really talking about the Reds and meeting new mates and speaking, and like every single one is, and hopefully in the not too distant future, when we're all allowed out, I'll meet a couple of yous as well. Hopefully all of yous. It's weird. I think I've only been stopped in the street once by one of the subscribers, Omar. I think that was years ago when we were allowed out pre-COVID. I was walking around town in Liverpool one, and someone stopped me and tapped me on the shoulder. I was like, "Whoa, what are you doing?" He's like, "I'm a subscriber," and he was all the way from Dubai as well. Obviously, having a look around Liverpool and obviously Anfield, which was amazing. But thank you to every single one. Apologies, as I said again, I haven't been as regular. I will try and be best to keep them up. But use are what make everyone's channels as well. The absolute legends. But spot on there, Dory. And speaking of great channels and having the privilege to go on, Connor from the Cop Council, if you're not aware of his channel, make sure you do head over there, subscribe. Not too far off 500, Connor, but hope you're having a good night, mate. Definitely get Connor on tomorrow. I'm going to try and get Dave on tomorrow as well, if we can do. Randolph is a decent keeper for us, but we are a poor team at the minute. Even it's mad, isn't it? Speaking to my dad, obviously supporting and just analysing Liverpool, when I've learned a lot more about our history as a young fan myself. There was, you look back on that Irish team back in the day, there were so many great Irish players, and sadly, obviously, not living up to the reputation at the minute in terms of that. But we spoke about Kelly. We'll go straight onto the news now. Harry Willson, I'll just quickly get the article up so we can discuss it. More or less looks like Liverpool supposedly have rejected a bid from Benfica for Harry Willson in and around 14 to 15 million. I think that might be euros or pounds, but this lad will not be shy of suitors in the future anyway. I think a lot of transfer business, which we'll discuss about FSG in a second, it is very much heavily reliant on outgoing transfers, which is a sad reality, really. We're not backed by a country, and we can't go and sign everyone as much as we all want to see the big players come to Liverpool, but it's that policy, which we'll discuss in a little second. But Harry Willson bags of potential. We've seen his quality in the Premier League with Bournemouth. Sadly, they got relegated, but I think he's a lad that will command at least easy 10 to 15 million. He's a fantastic player, not quite up to the standard in which we expect. Watching Harry Willson, every single one of us, we watched him in the under-23s since he's come through Liverpool ranks anyway, and it was him and Ryan Kent, when two very similar players-ish in terms of the way in which they play. I think Harry Wilson's a bit more technical gifted in terms of set-piece delivery and overall game performance, but I thought this lad would have at least propelled his career. I've been disappointed. Reds, what are your thoughts on Harry Wilson's career and what you see him going? Do you want him to see leave the football club and really develop his game, and hopefully we can get 50 million for him, which would be great in the long run? But I've been disappointed by his developments. I thought he would have really very much pushed on, and when you look at Harvey Elliott and a similar, you can play right wing anyway down there. You've got a young Harvey Elliott breaking through, and you're looking to potentially move out Harry Willson. So let me know your thoughts on that, Reds. The next one, don't get me started. If you've been living under a rock, UEFA, this is a big one. This is why I wanted to do a show tonight. I want to gauge your thoughts and opinions on this, Reds. UEFA more or less scrapping. Well, they have away goals rule scrapped in UEFA competition, including the Champions League. The away goal rule in European club football is set to be abolished from the start of next season. Governing body UEFA have confirmed the rule used since 1963 decided drawing two-legged games by favouring the team that scored the most away goals. All ties level and aggregate at the end of the second leg will instead go to extra time and potentially penalties. They are quoted as saying, "It is no longer appropriate for an away goal to carry more weight," the UEFA president said, which is absolutely ridiculous. Bit more comments, really, in terms of it says it's down to a number of factors, including pitch quality, improved stadiums, infrastructure, and new technology such as the video assistant referee. Talking out of his backside, really. But he goes on to quote that statement, "The impact of the rule now runs counter to its original purpose, as in fact it now dissuades home teams, especially in the first leg, from attacking because they fear conceding a goal that would give the opponent a critical advantage. There is also criticism of the unfairness, especially in extra time, of obliging the home team to score twice when the away team has scored. It is fair to say that the home advantage is no longer as significant as it once was." And obviously in the BBC article, it discussed obviously Liverpool's previous campaigns, and obviously the great game which we seen was the Ajax Spurs game in the semi-finals, which we did have. So Reds, let me know your thoughts on that. For me personally, if I was in charge of UEFA, the most sensible discussion, what you would have done for me, I want your thoughts and opinions on this, Reds. Keep it away goals, but as he's more or less discussed the UEFA president there, just scrap it after extra time. Don't mean scrap it in terms of the away goals, but scrap it in the second leg of extra time. It should just count as one goal, if you get me. If you catch me drift, everyone. Let me know your thoughts on that. But let's get to away comments as well. For his career, obviously, Shay's talking about Harry Willson. For his career, he needs to move on and get regular first-team football. Steve, cheers, mate, for dropping in. Not a fan of the change. Love the away goal rules. Adds excitement. Very much does, mate. It's going to be interesting how the overall approach from all these European teams. I was speaking to Dave and Keith before we come on live here, Reds. We will see a lot less goals in the Champions League. I'm not buying what the UEFA president just said there in his quotes, that it won't add to it. They can pull all the stats and everything out the sky they want to, really. You will see the likes of Diego Simeone, say if they win 2-0 at their home stadium, and the second leg, obviously the home team will want to push forward, but it adds to the excitement, as Steve just said there. It's all about the money in it with those lot. UEFA taking the excitement out of football. Shay, I just wish there was a bit more publicity for this issue. I think if the football fans actually stood up and UEFA would listen, like we have seen with previous changes within European football over the last couple of months, most notably when fans have spoken about the issue, I think if there was a bigger fan clamour around Europe for this issue, then sound. But UEFA aren't really bothered, really, because it's the little people that suffer. If we had loads of money, all those fans, and we piled a load more money into UEFA's back pockets, then they'd listen. But they're the decision makers that make some very terrible decisions. There was a vote from all European associations, or was it behind closed doors decision? I guess the latter. Eamon's very much so, mate. I'm not 100% on that. Chat as well. Let me know on Eamon's response there. Like most decisions within football, mate, it's always the people in UEFA, FIFA, the FA, the Premier League, all these people that make these decisions. Super League is the biggest example. People in charge of these big organisations and clubs, in Rafa's terms anyway, they don't care. They frankly don't care, and it's sad, really. Steve, if anything is possible, makes it more difficult for the smaller teams to grab a cheeky win with an away goal as well. Yeah, as much as we got knocked out by Atletico Madrid, mate, and the away goals more or less crippled us in that game. Obviously, we missed a lot of chances to really win that tie, but it adds to the excitement. I remember as a kid watching the Reds play Arsenal as well in Champions League when we had Torres and the boys. Just another there's so many examples of great European ties. Obviously, we won a couple of UEFA Cups on the away goal rule as well. So I think Benfica, all right, Diego Jota, hopefully you're training in Portugal there, mate. Saying that you're probably playing FIFA, aren't you, mate? But I appreciate you dropping in, fella. I think Benfica would be a very good club for Willson because he will go to a very easy league and win a lot of trophies. Tell you what, there's no easy league, but I don't understand where you're coming from, Jota. Obviously, you played there in the Portuguese league as well. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. He has to move, Harry Willson, really, in terms of his potential developments as a player. But, yeah, I'm absolutely disappointed. And if you're watching this on the replay, everyone, let us know your thoughts on this disastrous rule change from UEFA. Not a surprise, really, does it? And then we're going to the final news story now. I think a lot of people, when I was speaking to Dave and Keith, when you are all commenting in the comment section below as well, will FSG change their transfer policy? For me personally, and I want to gauge your thoughts and opinions on tonight's show, really, everyone, I don't think they will. I think FSG will be heavily reliant on a Michael Edwards masterclass and a Jurgen Klopp masterstroke yet again. Obviously, off the back of winning European Cups, we didn't quite strengthen. Obviously, we signed Virgil van Dijk and Alisson, prior to us winning the Champions League, and it helped us win the Premier League and the Champions League. Great, we've made big investments, but obviously that was off the back of selling Felipe Coutinho. So net spend, everyone likes to say. I'm not a big fan of, I used to be a big fan of FSG, but in terms of the developments over the previous years, the mistakes in which they continue to make, and I think they will continue to make the mistakes in relation to the football club, the furlough and the staff, the ticketing, the Super League as well. It's not going to be the end. When they say they've appointed fan representation within the boards, not just for Liverpool, before these big football clubs, time will tell. It will be the biggest teller really in terms of if these big owners have listened and do listen to the people within the boards, because sadly they only listen to the people that have got money, and it's the people that the sponsors they listen to, and they listen to everyone but the fans. And that has been going on for the last 20-30 years within football. The fans have very much been cast aside from these big dogs since money has come in. Yes, football is a business, and sadly football fans have always been consumers within football. Every single year it gets more expensive for the fans, and I think the next 2 to 3, even 5 years will be the biggest teller to see where football does go in a direction. Because at the minute, it's a modern day, unless you're backed by a country to start signing players, and obviously the FA, UEFA, and all the transfer policy and in the financial FFP, that is being completely blown out the window over the last couple of months anyway, to dismiss that and more or less give free rein to the top European clubs to sign whoever and sell whoever in terms of that. But yeah, Shay, let's get to Shay's comments. But let me know your thoughts on that, Reds. Do you reckon FSG will step out of their transfer policy? For me, I don't think they will. If a game goes to extra time, more than likely you are going to penalties, because both teams will sit back during the extra time. Very much, Shay. It's depending on obviously the substitutions, how the flow of the game is going, but I think you will see a lot more boring games within European competition. FSG lost out in the Super League, potentially money. Now they will continue with Klopp. Have to be a magician in the market. Yeah, very much so, Eamons. I think we've been speaking to you, and there's a lot of disgruntled Liverpool fans around the world, and I think this possibly will be FSG's biggest transfer window. This one coming up, obviously we got Canate, great, but if you look at our rivals around the Premier League, they will be strengthening. City, more or less, if you want to believe all the rumours, if they do go out and sign Jack Grealish and Harry Kane, then it's mad. Sancho potentially going to Manchester United, Chelsea, having a look at Haaland. They've got a lot of money to spend. Arsenal, I know we laugh and joke about Arsenal going, but there will come a year when they get their house in order and they'll be back to the top of the table. It might be a couple of years, but they will eventually be back. Aston Villa just spent a lot of money on Buendia. Leicester, Brendan Rodgers, great owners that invest within the squad, really. So time will tell. It'll be the biggest teller if FSG do break out their model and spend and back Jurgen Klopp, and we're not left heavily reliant on Jurgen Klopp at the last day or the last week of the transfer window, remonstrating publicly with the press saying, I want a centre-back, and then go out and sign a relegated, threatened centre-back from the Bundesliga. Obviously, we signed with Canate, but Liverpool's squad is not at the level in which us fans expect to compete at the highest table of the European football. I really hope FSG don't put big prices on players like Origi and Willson. I heard Romano saying we want 20 million for Origi. Let's be honest, there's no club that will be stupid enough to pay that. Interesting, mate. If there's one person, and was very lucky to have someone within our football club like Michael Edwards, someone that actually is probably one of the best people within his job in terms of recruiting and selling players, and a great negotiator. Because you only have to look down the M62 anyway and look at Manchester United, how poor they are in relation to negotiating transfers. With Edwards anyway. If FSG don't back Liverpool this summer, then I think serious questions will have to be asked of them. On that point as well, Shay, Diego, Eamons as well, Shay, Jade, Connor as well from the Cop Council, Rory, Josh for the Super Chat, absolute legends. Every single one of you, Phil and Doug and Jade, and every single one of you. And if you're watching this on the replay as well, hopefully you have a lovely rest of your night. And I really do appreciate all the continued support on the channel. I will be going live tomorrow, hopefully, with Connor from the Cop Council and Dave from Dave LFC Chats. And if anyone's watching and you would like to get on, you're very welcome to join. I will give you the link to jump on anyway. But yeah, Reds, have a lovely rest of your night, and I will see you very soon. Tomorrow, I will go live at 6 p.m. tomorrow, so stay tuned. If you don't get any notifications, jump on the channel, whether that be on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. We'll be streaming on all those platforms, so just keep your eyes out. And everyone, thank you for all the continued support. And as always, Reds, you will never walk alone. Cheers.